Welcome to the MBD Podcast, the show where we dig into what's actually working or not when it comes to scaling businesses with the people who've been there. And today's guest has definitely been there. So why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, tell them where you're at and where you've been.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jason. I'm really excited to talk about this. Firstly, my name is Pratik Narula. I'm the co-owner and chief operations officer at People Plus Software, and we're based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And yeah, we're a B2B SaaS company focused on helping organizations, digitally transform their supply chain operations, warehouse operations, and asset management through our cloud platform, IM3SCM.
Awesome. So when you start working with a customer or client, what are areas that you start looking at to help them overcome failure and start scaling their business?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think a lot of founders sort of overcomplicate that early on.
Mm,
If I had to distill, what's actually working for us in terms of scaling, I'd probably say, when you're small, you can't solve everything, right? So solve one pain point that really works well, right? For us, it was, for example, material visibility and maintenance accountability, right? And then the other one that really has been helpful for us during our journey is earn trust through execution, right? Scaling isn't a lot of founders and a lot of peers when I talk to them about it, and us as well. We've been in that rabbit hole where we say, "Hey, we don't have enough marketing dollar," right? And I like to say scaling isn't just about marketing first, but it's about building that credibility. Um, for example, we built that trust by delivering results on small pilot projects where we were just doing proof of concepts early on, right? And that story, that reputation is not built, it's not built overnight. So becoming our best marketing asset is really, in B2B specifically, execution is the new advertising.
mhm. And but in order to execute, you had to find clients. So what are kind of your strategies to find these people to help them with the proof of concept?
Absolutely. Yep. So, finding clients, I think, obviously, we started off about over a decade ago doing the traditional things, right? Like cold calling, building our ICP, our ideal customer profile, attending trade shows, but really starting small, right? Starting in your local vicinity. How can I get in front of my clients? And unfortunately, when you're small, every kind of opportunity that comes for you is your initial customer attraction, but you learn from that, right? So finding clients it also comes through branding, just like yourself, right? Where you need to connect with people, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on attending webinars like this, right? But local community events, trade shows is where we started.
And over the years, did you find any particular point where you were having the most success in a particular channel?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So in terms of digital marketing, we partnered with a company called Gartner, right? So Gartner has a lot of different tools such as PPL campaigns, PPC campaigns, right? So, for software and B2B world, we really had to find the market leader in terms of that. You can't just go to Google Ads and figure out, hey, if somebody's Googling supply chain software, how are they going to get in front of that, right? So we went and found, okay, what are those vendors that we can really work with that will help us scale,
Hmm.
right? Who's doing it today? Can I reach out to other competitors? Sometimes, to me, people look at competition and be like, "Oh, we want to be a lot like this company, but why not figure out, what do they do best, and how can you complement them?" Right. So that's another approach. Is sometimes it's okay to reach out to competitors and be like, "Hey, how can I help?"
Hmm. Now that makes sense. I think a lot of people don't do. They don't reach out because I don't necessarily see them as a competitor. I see it as a partner in a sense because if you're not providing the solution they are, you
Absolutely.
guys can work together. And we do that a lot. I actually have a number of business partners I work with who handle different facets of marketing, which I reach out to. So, for example, we don't do organic social. I don't want to do organic social, but I know people, not only people, but I've worked with these people in other, or particular a couple of them in other places, large corporations where they would run that. So then they did their own thing, and now we partner on a lot of these different projects. And I like it better because you can't be everything to everyone. You have someone you trust, And then if the client stops working in that direction because, say, it's a small project, then you don't necessarily lose them as a client. You retain them for what services you had instead of them going somewhere else. So I see a lot of benefit to it versus being the all-encompassing one solution. And
Yeah.
when you're identifying people, what are some of the ways that you go and identify these people that you want to reach out to?
Yeah, so I mean, I think if I look at kind of what's working for us today, right? It's really when we first got our number one customer, right, it was in the trucking and supply chain space. So supply chain, we kind of joke about it internally as, we've built a product that is so broad, right? But okay, when we find that first customer, your first customer helps you find two to three other customers as well, right? And the way we did that was really narrow on problems, but really think broad in terms of industries, right? Focus on, again, deeply on solving the visibility, the traceability in complex operations, right? Instead of chasing the trends, I think what really helped was we built those long-term credibility in verticals like logistics, cold chain, and now utilities as well. So
Okay.
really scaling for us, I would say it's not just been about sales, but it's really been about earning that trust through execution.
And are you also creating educational pieces as well to help build the awareness and trust within your brand?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we, again, as a B2B small startup, we started with about 5 employees serving one
Mm,
customer. We've scaled to about 40 customers, and it's been very difficult because a lot of, SaaS, which stands for software as a service, but people forget that service piece of that.
yeah.
So you're absolutely right. So that knowledge base is right within the product, whether it's on, extended YouTube videos or, hey, can I click on a module and get a help guide, right? When I'm doing a new release, can we be customer, first? Whereas we are, when someone logs in, can they have some sort of an instructional manual saying, hey, these are the new features, here's some videos, or hey, here, you can go ahead and contact support right away.
Got it. So you got educational pieces, and are you using those in your marketing campaigns as well, or are you just leveraging those as content that you put up and people come across?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, it was kind of funny before this call, I was demonstrating our product to a customer, and they're like, hey, we couldn't find your product on YouTube with specific to their industry and CMS. So absolutely, I think that we have done that. But every acronym that's out there, we could do a better job of actually creating videos that are specific to certain industries like
Mm,
manufacturing,
hmm.
automotive, energy and utilities, healthcare maintenance. And that is the beauty about the product we've been able to make is, customers who can't really think SAP, Oracle, Infor, they don't have the budget to spend, millions of dollars on certain applications and consulting and the changes that are required. They can come to us and really say, okay, you know what? We need a solution that works for our business, that is custom to our workflows. And that's where our team does a really good job is really just listening to your customers, being on the ground and saying, okay, let me not go and implement my software as is, but see what works best for their environment.
So if you were looking back on things, how would you structure your marketing campaigns to start building a business? If you were to do it again, do you have particular pieces you would put into play first, thinking that your budget light versus budget heavy?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. And I think we're actually in the process of it because when we first started off, we hired, we weren't a sales-driven organization. So we hired sales consultants to come on board and tell us how to market, right? We were never a product-based company. We were more focused on building IT solutions and you know, then we said, okay, you know what? How can we go about it? So a lot of startups first think of their great idea, but they're very new to marketing. So we're actually redoing that right now. We're bringing in, people who are experts on not just marketing platforms, but what's happening today with AI. The entire industry is changing right before our eyes. So we're looking at and evaluating our CRM today and saying, okay, you know what? Let's look at our last, 3 years of data, and let's really figure out and reevaluate what our ICP today is for our market, and how does that fit with our roadmap of where we want to be in the next 5 years.
Yeah, awesome. Knowing who your customer is, and then also, you have the ability to survey them, and they're going to give you insights onto what solution you provide for them, right? Like, we all have this idea of like, hey, we solve this for our client, and then all of a sudden you start hearing your client say, what, asking them things like, what would you tell a friend about us, right? And getting kind of that raw feedback to be like, whoa, that's powerful. We can use that in our messaging. Um, so if someone's listening, trying to scale right now, what's one piece of advice you wish you had?
That's a great question. I would say, uh, scaling chaos is still chaos, right? So operational discipline still matters at the end of the day. We invested early in a clear process for sales, onboarding, and customer success, even when it felt premature, right? For us, it's been about product iteration. So know who you are, know who your customer is, but don't be afraid to fail, because there's going to be things where you're going to try, let's say for a quarter or two, and then you have data to back it up and say, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and reevaluate. The other thing again would just be stay close to your customers. I think when we first signed our first 2, 3 customers, that led to another 5 customers, and that led to another, a couple of customers as well. But when you really are able to scale, we spend as much time understanding our customer workflows as we do building new features. People don't just want new gimmicky features, but every quarter, we really make it a habit to revisit their biggest frustrations, right? And that really drives our roadmap in the future.
Awesome. And if you had a magic wand, what would be one thing you'd wave to fix right now in business?
Man, there's way too many things. I think what I would say is, don't just focus again on, let's say, for example, uh, everybody's trying to leverage AI, right, to
Mhm.
multiple human capacity, and even we're focused on how AI can scale intelligence, not just automation, for things like predicting maintenance issues to surfacing insights for CFOs and technicians, but really understand how someone can really use the tool and use it yourself. I think there was a really good book. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was written by a Google engineer where they said, hey, you know what? Treat your product like dog food, right? Test it on yourself. Make sure to eat it
Right.
yourself. So, to get back to your question, what would I, if it was a magic wand, what would I change about business today? I think it would be to make it more, personal and upfront again, right? I really miss at times 70% of my sales are done online. I'd love to do them in person where I'm visiting businesses, owners, and really understanding those solutions. And that's a big part of what we do today in terms of our implementation onboarding, but really providing those touch points, and making relationships. Sometimes it's not just about selling, but really meeting the right people along the journey.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually enjoyed going to businesses and seeing their operations because it helped me market them better. Because when you go in there and you understand, because you see things, at least I see things from the marketing perspective of like, oh wow, that's cool. That's something we can message. Versus for them, it may be something they just do every day and they don't even think about it. But then seeing how it's structured, the people they work for, the customers coming in, I always find it interesting. So where can people connect with you or learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, you can find us at peopleplussoftware.com. We also have a YouTube channel and an active LinkedIn page where we post videos about our product, case studies about some of the customers that we have found. And yeah, that would be the best way.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, and I would just say, kind of just closing thought, thinking about your podcast as a whole and to the startups that are out there, don't just chase scale, right? Chase repeatability.
Right.
Once you can really deliver consistent value in one niche area, scaling becomes a matter of repeating excellence and not reinventing it, right? That consistency over time is what really helps you build that brand.
Mm. Great point. Yeah, making sure you can do it again and again and again at a high level. Well, thank you for taking time, and look forward to chatting again.
Thank you so much, Jason. Take care.